high school curriculum. So we're being recorded now. Thank you. So as our students have that opportunity to take AP courses, we're really going to look and deep dive at the DLI Middle School Pathway for World Languages. We're going to look a little bit at what the students are going to be taking during their pre-AP Spanish course and AP Spanish Language and Culture. Now, before we move on, we are going to look at seventh grade. In seventh grade, our students take the pre-AP Spanish Language and Culture class. Last year, the AP Spanish Language and Culture class was divided in two parts. So the first part is actually taken during seventh grade, pre-AP Spanish. And the students have Unit 1, Families in Different Societies, and Unit 2, The Influence of Language and Culture on Identity. What we've done is that we've included each one of the sections of each unit. And you can see that little arrow pointing because you will have that opportunity to click on any one of those unit sections, and you'll be able to see what is it that the students will be learning at each unit, at each section of that unit. And you'll be able to see the type of questions that they're going to be asked. If also they're going to have writing prompts in that section. And then, of course, on the other corner, where it says Fiveable, also we've included there more information on the AP Spanish Language and Culture class. Once they finish that Unit 2, then they continue their pre-AP Spanish for Unit 3, which is on the next slide. On the next slide, you will see that the students are going to be studying influences of beauty and art. Here you will see that they're looking at art, at the communities of how communities of artwork, the value of art, and how art has recorded and made a difference in history. So this is how they're going to focus in the three first parts of the AP Spanish course in the pre-AP Spanish class during seventh grade. When they go into eighth grade, in the next slide, this is when the students take their AP Spanish and Language course. But here they take the second part of AP Spanish. Here they will take Unit 4, they will study Unit 4, how science and technology affects our lives. And if you see, they will be learning about social media, innovations, access to technology, and how technology affects their lives and how students use technology currently. And they will also have possible prompts to write about the social media and the effects of technology. In Unit 5, students will study the factors that impact the quality of life. Here the students will learn about housing, education, entertainment and sports, tourism, and cuisine. And as you can see on the next slide, they're going to also have a Unit 6 where they're going to be studying environmental, political, and societal challenges. Here in this area, they're going to be talking about issues in economics, environmental, population and demographics, and social conscience. And also they might have possible prompts that they're going to be looking at in Unit 6. So just keep in mind that when your students take the AP Spanish course in ninth grade, that they've already taken part or half of the first half in pre-AP Spanish. And that's why it's going to be very important that as our students transition from elementary to middle school, we want to reassure that our students are taking their seventh grade pre-AP. That way they're preparing the students part of the session in pre-AP and the second part during AP and eighth grade. As they move along during the class, you will see that as we prepare their students not only in pre-AP, but in AP, the students are going to have some sections that they're going to be tested on at the end of 8th grade. During usually April, our students are being evaluated on the AP Spanish language course. Now, keep in mind that our AP Spanish language and culture class is an equivalent to the 10th grade or the high school AP Spanish course. So here, our students will be asked multiple choice questions. They will be asked to interpret the communication. And not only that, but they'll be looking and reading and also listening to audio texts as well. And in addition, they're going to have free response questions, and that's 50% of the test. So they have number of questions, but they're going to be asking the different types of questions, how to reply to an email. They're going to be writing an argumentative essay, a conversation, and they're going to do a cultural comparison. And then it also includes the number of minutes, the timing of each section of the test. So the test does take a whole day. Now, if you're interested in looking at some of the questions, some samples, then at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see that there is a College Board guide that includes some samples and what is expected of the students as they prepare and take the AP Spanish language and cultural test. As they move on to high school, we're going to look at the format of the AP Spanish literature. The Spanish literature just focuses on literature. One of the things that we've asked our high school teachers, how can we prepare our students for the AP Spanish literature class? And one of the things they say, 3 things that they need: to read, and to read. They need to read novels in Spanish, literature in Spanish, poems in Spanish. So that's really important. As your students go from kinder through 6th grade, they're learning to read. And now in middle school and high school, they're reading to learn. So we want them to continue reading, especially to prepare them for this literature class. So let's go ahead and see what units they're going to be studying. And the pre-AP Spanish literature, of course, it's a whole year course, and it's divided into 1 semester and the 2nd semester. Here you're going to see Unit 1, la época medieval, medieval, perdón. So it's the medieval era. And then they're going to be learning about el siglo XVI, the era of the 16th era. And then also they're going to be learning about Don Quixote. They're going to be learning about the different authors of the era. And of course, you're going to see romantic literature, realistic literature, and naturalist literature. So you're going to see that romanticism that comes in, the realism, and they're going to be studying several authors in those areas. Again, we've included the different, not only the unit, but the subdivision of those units, and you can click through each of those areas to see exactly what they're going to be learning and the type of literature that they're going to be reading in class. As they move along from Unit 4, you're going to see Unit 5, the generation of 98 and modernism. And then in Unit 6, they're going to be learning about theater and poetry of the 20th century. And then, of course, you're going to see just the different layers of those areas that they're going to be learning. Of course, you're going to see the different authors, Horacio Quiroga, Pueblo Neruda, etc. And then, of course, you're going to see not only the literature pieces, but you're going to see the different countries and the different authors that are represented in those different countries as well. As they move from Unit 6, you're going to see that in Unit 7, they're going to be learning, and the next screen, they're going to be learning about the boom, Latin American boom. So here we're going to see the Spanish literature and culture faculty. And then, of course, they're going in Unit 10, they're going to be looking at the writers, contemporary writers of the United States and Spain. So with keeping that in mind, you can see that the whole year is going to be focusing on literature and how important it is for our students to start reading on their own, independently at home. And if they can read 10 to 20 minutes a day to read a novel, that's what's encouraged, especially from the high school teachers. They want them to read, read, read. So when they come to the literature class, they're ready to receive those literature pieces and those novels that they're going to be reading. Now, as we look at the AP Spanish literature format for the assessment, we're going to see that the students here are going to have multiple choice questions, but they're going to have audio tags. So here they're going to be listening and they're going to be interpreting the listening of those pieces. They're going to be reading as well. And then in section 2, they're going to have free response questions. Here you're going to see short answers where they're going to be listening, they're going to be asked a question, and then they will have time to respond. So some of the responses are between 1 minute to 2 minute responses, and the students need to respond. And what's more difficult, our students are so used to conversing and having collaborative conversations, but what happens is that when they have to speak into a computer with no one around, it's kind of uncomfortable. So they're going to be practicing those speaking opportunities and have those speaking opportunities in the classroom. But if we can get them to start just responding in 2 minutes and give as much information without hesitating or without stopping, we're going to give our students that advantage. And then you could see they're going to have short answer text, and they're going to be comparing text and art and also an essay. And they're going to be doing an essay with text comparison with 1 or 2 sources. And as you can see, that test is also a long day test, and it's broken down on the time allotment for each section. Again, we have included right at the bottom of the slide, the AP Literature College Board Guide for you to be able to go in there and see what questions might be asked and have examples of what they're going to be asked during the test.
Mrs. Thetford, would you like me to open up that link?
Sure, you can open up that link and we will show them the format of the guide. And then keep in mind, you also have that guide for the AP Spanish language and culture. So once Esther opens it, what we find in those guides is actually you have that opportunity to be able to look, and is it linked?
Sorry, it was not allowing me to exit, and it's not letting me open up the link.
Okay, perfect.
But here it is.
Wonderful. So what you do is you have your course and exam description. So this one is the cultural and language. What I'll do is that I'll make sure that we link the correct one, but this is the culture and the language one. And what you have is you have actually the content of what's inside this guide. And then as you go through the guide, you will see that they give you some information about the AP assessment, and then of course, what they're going to be learning in their course. And if we continue scrolling, they're going to be also looking, if we look at the AP score here at the bottom, they're at the bottom. One of the things that, of course, our goal is for our students to receive a score of a 3, 4, or 5, especially in their first test, AP Spanish language and culture. If they pass the assessment with a 3, 4, and 5, then it gives them that opportunity to obtain their seal of biliteracy. And if they receive a score of a 4 or a 5, then those scores can be used for college credit course. So it counts for college credit. So that's really important to let your students know. And then, of course, here is going to give you some resources and support. And if you continue with the guide, continue, we'll see, here gives some examples for instructional models for the teachers, of course. But if we continue there, as we move on, it gives you about the course and what the students will be learning throughout the year. So if we continue, and here we're going to see the framework. The framework is just an introduction of what's the expectation of that course and the different components of the course that the students will be taking throughout the year. So as you know, the first trimester has been completed, but if we continue, Esther, if you continue scrolling down, then here are some of the skills that your students will need to be able to be successful. Now here, of course, it's turned to one side. But when we look at it, we look at this different skills and the different categories that the students will need. Now, keep in mind, we talked a little bit and you were able to see the type of questions that they will be asked. Well, here are the type of skills that your students will need in those categories. And then if you continue, of course, then you have your course content. If you can continue, Esther. One of the things there, stop, Esther, if you can go back a little bit to the next one. Right here, it just gives you an example of just all the authors that the students are going to be learning about. Here on the left-hand side, La Gabriel Garcia Marquez, you're going to be reading La Siesta del Martes. They're going to look at Luis de Gonora, all these different authors and the types of literature pieces or themes that they're going to be actually learning about. So there's a lot of authors that they're going to be learning about in this course. And then, of course, one of the nice things is they start breaking it down by theme. So the theme one is the contact of the society. So then it's broken down with organizing the concepts, essential questions that they're going to be asked, and some sample required readings that the students will be doing. So you'll see the same format throughout the different themes.
Thank you. And I know this is a 209 pamphlet, so we can't go through, we cannot go through all of it, but as you can see, Mrs. Thetford took you through some of the major components of AP.
Yes. And then, of course, as you continue looking at the guide, it will give you more information. It just will break down also, and it will go into also the assessment as well. All right. Does anyone have any questions about our AP Spanish courses?
Ashley has a question.
I have a question. I'll call on myself and go first. I was curious, and thank you for the very in-depth look at what that test is like. That's more information than I think I've ever heard about it. Super helpful. How is this test proctored? I'm still an elementary school parent, but we will be in this new world next year. Is this on a weekend? Is this during school hours?
I know that at the high school, it is the AP, I'm going to say courses because it's not only AP Spanish, but all AP courses are scheduled during the school day. And they usually already have a schedule for all the AP classes. So students are asked to sign up for the AP courses that they're going to take. And there is a fee for the courses, of course, but if any student needs assistance with the fees, and they can go to the school site and talk to their counselors, and they can be of assistance in that way. But yes, they're proctored, they're scheduled on different days. I don't know for this year when the AP Spanish literature class will be offered for testing, but they already should have a date, or a date will be scheduled very soon. I know that they do this like a year ahead. So I know at least last year from my son taking the test that they are scheduled, and then the students take them during the school day. Now at the middle school, I'm not too sure, but I think that the same is true. They're scheduled during the day, during the school day, and parents will be notified ahead of time. And all students, at least in the middle school, will be taking the assessment. And then, of course, at the high school, you know, we encourage all of our DLI students to take the Spanish literature, but it's their option to take the test or not. One thing also that we wanted to include here that, you know, we didn't put in a slide. I know that there's been a question. If my son or my daughter did not pass the AP Spanish language and culture test in 8th grade, can they retake that test in high school? Yes, they can. They can take it in 9th grade. We encourage the students to retake it in 9th grade if they didn't score a 3, 4, and 5. Some students might, if they didn't score or they want a better score, they can retake the exam in 9th grade. We encourage them to take it in 9th grade because in 10th grade, they're going to be tested with the AP literature class. So that is an option that students can take.
We have some questions in the chat box. Can you or perhaps Ms. Garcia speak to the levels of success of RUSD students in the AP exam at the end of 8th grade? What proportion of students pass, and how has this changed over the past few years?
Yes, the success rate for our DLI students, we have high success rates. I have not asked district-wide for DLI that data, but I can definitely ask for it and share it with you at a next meeting. But our DLI students are pretty successful in passing this test. And like Ms. Thetford explained, if in this 8th grade, our students do not pass with a 3, 4, or 5, we do give them another opportunity in the 9th grade. And I'm sorry, I did not have the data on this one. I think because the ask was to present on the description of the AP courses.
And I want to add on to what Esther said. We did actually have a Somos DLI meeting last year where that AP aggregate data was shared. I'm going to put in our Google site here in the chat.
Oh, you're muted, Ashley.
Sorry. I'm going to put in the Google site in the chat, and it's because I keep hitting my keyboard. I'm trying to add a link and I'm messing it up. There should be a link going in the chat for our Google site that will have previously recorded meetings that may have some of that information that was current at least last year, if that helps. I know we have one more question, a hand up, and then Jackie, I'm sorry I cut you off.
Yeah, we have a few more in the chat box. We could just kind of go through them. For the AP test, do the results come in through the mail or email?
I believe they are mailed. They are provided to the students, of course, at the high school, but I believe they are also mailed home. They do not come through an email.
Actually, I can speak to that. We had to log into a website,
Yes.
and then we got the scores there. I don't remember ever receiving anything in the mail.
They
okay.
used to send them through mail, but I think the last couple of years, this parent has indicated, yes, you have to go and log in into the website, the AP College Board website to get your scores.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important that you keep your passwords and the email that you use, because what happens is that students forget, and then when they want to retrieve them, said, "Oh, I don't know my password, and I forgot my the email that they use." So it's really important that they keep that record, you know, in a safe place so they can retrieve their scores.
Thank you for that. We have some more questions. Can you talk about AP in conjunction potentially with IB, or you able to do both?
I really cannot speak to this one because we have not reached that point. I know that North was one of the schools that we were looking into opening DLI, but we are changing course on that, parents. I don't have all of the information because planning just started. But as you know, North is under extreme construction right now. And in North High School, as far as I know, North High School is the only school with the IB program, and we do not have our DLI program at North yet.
Thank you for that, Esther. Is there anything pertaining to the elementary DLI program?
In regards to AP or advanced placement?
Jessica Fanzano, would you like to elaborate?
Yeah, my daughter, she's in TK right now, and so I'm, I guess, waiting to know if this confirms she's been accepted into the program. We had to apply for it November of last year, so I haven't received any formal communication besides being invited to this.
Yes, we are. We have been sending out notices, and we will continue to send notices throughout February. But we are beginning to send notices to parents. I know some of them already received their notices because they've been contacting me about what to do next.
Okay, so assuming I wait for that.
Yes, please.
Okay.
It's a very long, tedious process, but I promise parents you will have the information. My hope is everybody gets information no later than mid-February.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Some more questions. Thank you for that, Esther. ¿Cómo les afecta a los alumnos no pasar el LPAC en la primaria?
If your child does not pass the LPAC in elementary, that means that they will continue to be English learners, and it does not affect them in any negative way at all. The passing the LPAC with a level 4 means that they might qualify to reclassify and exit the EL program. But staying in the EL program does not take away from any courses or any advanced programs that students can take.
Esther, but doesn't it limit their ability to take an elective at the middle school?
It does, but given if they are DLI students, we already provide them the 0 period that they can take so that they are able to take an elective.
Well, but I thought then that other elective is taken up with the ELD elective, not a general, like the wheel of electives or
Right.
journalism, whatever the other electives are.
Right. Unfortunately, yes, it does take away from that.
Okay, so I'm going to jump back on here and call on Katrina, who's been waiting very patiently. Thank you. Go ahead with your question.
Sorry, that was me that jumped in before, and I just typed it in what I was going to say in the chat about in 8th grade, we did not have to pay for the test, and we because I know she had mentioned something about having to pay for it in high school, and also it did take longer than the school day for the test. The kids went because they had many difficulties with the technology and being able to, the microphones and stuff, and having to speak into them to record themselves for part of the test. So it did take longer than the whole school day. But they did give us all the information that we needed to be able to log in during the summer to check to see what their score was. And they told us the date and everything that the information would be provided.
That's
I
good
just
to
wanted
know.
to share that.
Thank you for adding that. That's good to know. That's part of why we have this group, is to teach everybody about these different phases of the process of the program so that we can better prepare our students and walk with them through it. Thank you, Katrina.
Especially when you have technology that doesn't work at that day, or for some reason, we have to prepare our students. We've been working with technology for the past 2 or 3 years, so we know that, sometimes, the microphones don't work, or they do, even though they prep beforehand, but on that day, you just never know. But it's good, to prepare our students for that as well.
Absolutely.
Sharing. Mhm.
And thank you for sharing about the technology troubles, because that is something that we are not aware of, given that we're not at the school sites. However, it is something that we can reach out, not like tomorrow, and start preparing for that and start involving our technology department to make sure that when the time comes for our students to take the AP test, that we are ready with the technology that they need, so that the test doesn't become longer because of technology.
Mhm.
So I appreciate you sharing that.
Mhm.
Okay, it looks like we do have one more question, and Teresa, you're probably the last on this subject, I think, unless I've missed something. Go ahead, Teresa.
Hi, sorry. I was just going to add a little bit of how we can help get them there from the elementary level. So I know I see some names here that I recognize being at the elementary level, but if we can start that reading early on, looking at all of the reading that is demanded of the kids to be ready for the APs, the more reading they can start doing in Spanish and building up their stamina in reading in Spanish, because we see it peter off after about third and fourth grade. They enjoy the reading in English because it comes a little bit easier. But if we keep up with it, it'll help. And the other thing that helps, I know from when my girls took the AP test, was being able to really use their keyboarding skills. Part of the time is typing. So the more that they can plan and using whatever typing club, typing tutors to become better typists is one of the little things. Doesn't seem like much, but every little bit can help them. And those are things that we can start at the elementary level, not having to wait till middle school or high school.
And then in addition, I would like to include that also I know that we've had discussions whether middle school and high school is giving those students opportunities to record themselves and responding to prompts, to questions. So they have that 2-minute prompts, because I mean, when we think about 2 minutes, 2 minutes is not very long, but when a student is trying to respond and it's 2 minutes, it's very long, and they don't realize that they need to fill that space by answering the question completely. So even practicing with that, is helpful. And I know the teachers in middle school and high school are already doing that for our students.
Okay.
We have one more question in the
Oh.
chat. Hold on. It moved. It was from Gabina, and it says, I have a 6th grader that will be entering 7th grade DLI next year. Can you explain to me what classes they are expected to take to continue their DLI course? And also, what classes do you recommend them taking and not taking? I think some of these people came in late, so they missed that information in the beginning of the meeting.
I know that in the beginning of our presentation for the AP exam or the AP Spanish courses, we did indicate what the students will be taking in 7th, 8th, and then in high school. I know that after our meeting, I know Ashley, or the president, will be including this PowerPoint into the Google site and the Facebook location, so you can have access to that. But, just to answer your question real quick, I know that in 7th grade, at least for Spanish, they will be taking the pre-AP Spanish course and world history in Spanish. All other courses will be in math. And 8th grade, they will be taking the science class in Spanish and the AP Spanish language and culture. That's for middle school, and all the other courses will be in English. And depending on their courses that they will be taking, they'll be working with their counselors to select the courses or an elective during that time. So I know that the counselors and the school site at the middle schools will be sending out information to all parents. Well, you will have that opportunity to look at the courses that they will be offering. And then you will be filling out documents based on courses.
One more question. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Last question was, can I ask about the transition from 6th to middle school? My son is in 5th grade, but I would like him to attend to the DLI middle school closest to home. And we've talked about this before, but you can address.
Schools transition into the middle school that belongs to their pathways. Parents, we do have pathways, and actually our pathways are in our website in DLI information. Under DLI information, if your child is attending Castle View in Washington, they will attend Gage. If they are attending Mountain View or Jefferson, they will attend Sierra Middle School. If they attend Fremont or Longfellow, they will transition to University Heights.
Okay, in the interest of time, I think we should probably press on to the next item in our agenda. Mrs. Thetford, thank you so much for that in-depth look at our AP tests.
I'm sorry, Ashley, can I just add one more thing before we continue? I wanted to let those 6th grade parents know that their Spanish class, their AP class counts as their elective. So if they want to take another elective, then they have to take 0 period PE before school at 7 something, so that they can have a regular elective like the rest of the kids. So because their AP Spanish does count as their elective if they don't do it. So sorry, I just wanted to throw that in real quick.
I know at Sierra it starts at 7:30. It's 0 period. So for anybody who's going to Sierra, it does 0 period starts at 7:30. Thank you, Katrina, for that info.
Thank you, Katrina. Yes, that is right. I think that's something we've touched on before at our meetings, but always good to remember, especially if you have a child that likes to sleep in the morning like I do. Look forward to waking them up earlier. Thank you all. And let's invite Ms. Esther Garcia back on to talk about State CABE.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Again, thank you so much. And today I'm just going to present some information about the California Association for Bilingual Education, which is an association throughout California that is very, very supportive of everything bilingual education and multiculturalism. CABE's vision is to ensure educational equity for all students, regardless of race or color or gender. They want to make sure that our students have or experience a great education. Biliteracy is one of their biggest visions, because we know that for students to perform well or to have a good life in today's world, right? They need to be biliterate. They need to have more than one language so that they can communicate in the 21st century in a global environment. And of course, multiculturalism competency. We want our students to be able to understand multiple cultures, not just ours, but multiple cultures. And this is also to give them advantage when they grow up and enter the workforce. State CABE provides, and I am going to close this. Give me 1 second. State CABE provides professional learning for educators and families. They are very, very family oriented and focused. We have a statewide conference and meetings. They advocate for bilingual education, multilingualism, and for our English learners at the state and at the federal level. and they provide multiple supports for families and educators and students alike. The importance of being active in your community. CABE strives to have workshops or trainings, support systems that will show our parents and our community, our educators and our students, and the importance of being active in your community so that we can meet not only new friends, but make those business contacts that we so much need to have in education, to become connected to what is happening in our community. Be proactive in our community, share your voice. CABE is all about our parents sharing your voice and opinions, because it is your voice that allows our CABE association to advocate for what we need. Help others, of course, get advice. They do have a wonderful group if you need advice in bilingual education, multiculturalism, or on any initiatives that our state is coming up with. Seek professional development opportunities and to find your passion. Of course, the passion we hope is for bilingualism and multiculturalism. The importance of sharing our language and culture. The state, it has tasked all of the educators in California to ensure that our students graduate ready for college and career and a civic life, that they grow up to be not only productive, but kind citizens. To have the capacity to be literate individuals. We want our students, and this is what California is tasking us with, that our students graduate literate and ready for the 21st century so that they can compete in a global society. In our USD, I have to say that we have a clear focus and plan to ensure that our students meet these goals. The importance of sharing your language and culture at home is very, very important to all of us. So at this time, I am going to ask you to share and reflect. How do you share your language and culture with your children in your own family? And I am going to open up the mic to anyone who would like to share. Don't be shy. I know there's many cultures out there. Okay, if you don't want to share by raising your hand or speaking, opening up your mic, why don't you share some ideas on how to share your culture and your language in the chat box? CABE also has multiple regions. We have about six, I believe we have six regions and chapters, many chapters. Riverside belongs to Region 4, Chapter 6. And I am really proud to say that we were selected as Chapter of the Year last year and into this year. Our CABE conference is coming up in February, and at that point, they will announce the new Chapter of the Year. But we won this honor last school year for the involvement that we have in our community and the outreach that we continue to do for bilingualism and multiculturalism. Some CABE events that are coming up. Celebrating cultural diversity through traditional fashion. We are going to have a fashion show at the upcoming conference in February. And we are going to invite all of the guests to dress in their traditional garments, to come and show off your traditional dresses dresses. So I cannot wait to see this, because as you can see in the flyer, we are not about just Spanish or about English learners. CABE is about multiculturalism and bilingualism. It embraces every language that comes to us in California, and it embraces all the multiple cultures that we have here. They will also be having an Asian Language Institute. And as you can see in the flyer, it is not just Cambodian or Thai or Mandarin, which are the largest Asian languages, right? Look at all the languages. They're gonna have Cantonese, Filipino, Hindi, Hmong, Japanese, Korean, and many, many more. So we open up the doors to all of the languages that we have. We are also very proud to announce the high school and middle school mariachi festival competition. I've already sent this this flyer and the information to our high schools, and those that have a mariachi, we've invited them to participate. CABE has a dedicated parent and family center, and they bring their center to their conferences and their trainings to focus on how to support parents, to give them the information that they need to support their children throughout their educational journey in our public education setting and beyond. CABE also brings the regional conference to Sacramento for parents in the up North California. And we also have a Southern California right here in Riverside. Each year it is in Riverside Convention Center. And although educators are invited, this conference is focused more on parents. And most of the workshops are parent related and any kind of topic, how to support kids through your AP coursework, right? That's also very important. How to read the GPA, how to apply for colleges when the time comes. They have a multitude of workshops during this conference. Our chapter 6, is very proud to announce our second conference that we will be having on Saturday, March 16th. This conference is completely free and it's also parent-centered. We will have multiple workshops on how to support your children, not only at school, but also social emotional workshops on how to support your students, especially right now in the era of social media. So you are more than welcome to sign up. We have the QR code and also the bit.ly right here for registration. We will provide lunch and a light breakfast, and everything is completely free. So we hope to see some of you at this conference. At this conference, we will also have two distinguished keynote speakers. We will have Dr. Andres Martinez and Dr. Renee Bryan, sorry. Renee Bryan is a strong advocate for bilingualism and multiculturalism. Our CABE website has a multitude of resources for parents. As you can see here, this is coming straight from the CABE website. They have their own parent tab. You tap in there and it will take you to these resources. Right here where it says quick links, I've linked this website. It will take you directly here. And right underneath this page, you will see learn more about family and community engagement programs. These are the programs that they have available. And as you can see, they have many for you parents to not only inspire you to participate in your children's education, but also to guide you and support you on how to be a proactive parent in your child's education. If you are interested in becoming a member of CABE for parents, it is a fee of $20, and the application is also linked here. There are many benefits to being a member, especially the reduced price that they charge for conferences. So this is the information about our California Association for Bilingual Education in California. Thank you. Any questions?
We did have a comment. We share their culture. One of the comments said we share by cooking traditional foods and or with our religion.
Oh, yay!
That was it. Thank you.
Yes, food is always so important, right? I have to share one of the traditions for me. For me, I'm Hispanic, and believe it or not, I did not learn how to cook like my mom. And I regret it every single day. So, given that we were going to, I felt like I was losing my traditions and my own cultural from my Hispanic heritage. So, I 5 years ago, I called up my sister and I said I want to learn how to make tamales because I'm embarrassed to admit that I did not know how to make tamales. That was 5 years ago. And so it's become a tradition in my family. So now my daughter and I together have been making tamales together for 5 years now. And this year we included my 2-year-old granddaughter. So my granddaughter will grow up with this Hispanic tradition that I just had to have. So that's how I share my culture and my tradition with my family. So thank you. Thank you so much. And this is the end. If you have any more questions, do not hesitate to email us.
Thank you so much, Esther. We did have one question in the chat. It looks to be a bit of a long one, sort of related to, not necessarily to CABE, but just DLI as a whole. It might be faster if you read it, so I don't read it out on my own, if you can see it. It's coming from Araceli Anguiano. I hope I'm saying your name right. And it's a question about honors courses taken by DLI students, specific to honors science.
So maybe Araceli can open up her mic and ask the question. If I open up my chat, everybody will see the chat. I mean, they can still see it, but it will be on the screen.
I'm happy to read it also, and Araceli maybe can open for comment. She wrote, I was wondering if DLI courses can also be offered as honors classes too. That way students don't have to choose between being in honors courses or regular courses. For example, at Gage, students must take regular 8th grade science. Oh, it's moving if they are not in DLI and cannot take honors science. This especially matters in high school. That extra GPA point students earn by being in honors classes may make a difference in their college applications. Secondly, honors/GATE DLI students need to be challenged. Third, there are more behavior management issues in regular courses that hinder learning for other students.
And yes, I believe this already came to me, this concern and this question already came to me, and it is something that Mrs. Stepper and I talked about actually extensively as to the options, the course options that our students have, our DLI students have. And I went as far as telling Mrs. Thetford that it is a conversation that we need to open up with our district leaders to see what kind of support or even changes we can make if necessary for our DLI students. Because there are many, many questions that have been coming to me. And that is something that as a district we have to process, because any changes that we make, not only do we need to include all of our district leadership, but we need to include you, the parents. We cannot make just a change that big and not have the support and the advice of our parent community, all of our parent community, not just one or two. So yes, thank you for your question. And it is on my list of things to continue to discuss.
Thank you, Esther, for adding that. And I also want to add a comment that prior to the creation of this group, I was made aware that 0 period in middle school, which we sort of touched on in this meeting, was an option that parents wanted and pushed for. It was actually not something that was around before in the original middle school model, but families and students wanted that ability to be flexible with their electives. And so that was something that I think together as a partnership, they were able to bridge the gap. And that is why the 0 period was created. Though I know it's early and that is hard for students, but it's ultimately giving them options. And it's moments like this where you can learn about something else that maybe is a new bridge for students and
Right.
and see where it takes us.
Right.
Thank you, Esther, and thank you for the presentation about CABE. We're so excited to have a chapter in our city, and I look forward to attending all of those events.
Oh, great. Thank you. Our next,
Esther, there was one more question that said, did you send the flyer to Riverside Arts Academy for the mariachi competition? But I know, because my daughter attends Riverside Arts Academy, that's a mix of students like from different grades. I know that their mariachi group consists of all the way up, so it's even before middle school. So I don't know that they would be eligible, but I mean, you can always try.
yes, of course. I did not send it to the academy because I only sent it to our high schools. And if I go back to the flyer, we can see if they qualify. Give me 1 second. It's high school and middle school. So, but I can, Bianca, what I can do is I can send an email and see if the academy can be invited. I can ask. It never hurts to ask, right? So, okay. I'm gonna move on to our DLI application dates. The DLI Fall 2024 after window application opened up. It is posted on our website. It opened up today and it will close on August 16th, the first week of school when we return to school. This application parents is to create a wait list, to have a wait list for our program. So if our students leave and we need to fill that spot, parents from this application are selected. This application is also created to fill the spots that we still have open. We do have a few spots open. I have to say that this has been the best year for DLI applications. We had over 350 applications submitted for our kindergarten courses. And this is the first year that I have to enact the full lottery at 4 sites, 4 out of the 6 sites. I usually only have 2 sites where we enact the lottery because we get more applications than the spots we have available. But this year, lottery is at 4 sites. So I appreciate your patience with getting the notices. They are going out, but given that we had a lottery at 4 sites, the job is a lot bigger and it's time consuming. It really is time consuming. We have to be very careful in making sure that we follow our priority for accepting students, priority 1, 2, 3, and 4 before we accept students who don't fall under that priority, and then everyone else, like our application says. But it is open. If you have not applied for DLI and you would like to apply, you can visit riversideunified.org /forward DLI. I will add the address here to this slide before Ms. Ashley posts it.
Thank you, Esther.
You're welcome. Important dates. No school on Friday, February 16th, and Monday, February 19th. Please mark those on your calendars. It is President's Weekend. English Language Proficiency Assessment for California, or LPAC. This is a big test that all English learners, including English learners in DLI, are required by state law to take it. It opens up tomorrow and it will close on May 31st, 2024. Again, even our English learners in our program are required to take this test. This is not a test like the CAS where the parents can option out. This is a required test that all English learners must take. CABE Riverside Chapter 6 conference, like I mentioned before, will be on March 16th, 2024 in Corona High School. Please attend. It's a completely free conference. Our next meeting, I did not get a chance to change the date, but this date will change because there is a conflict with one of our DLI schools. I believe it's not a back to school, an open house, right? It's an open house. And so we don't want parents from this school to miss out on our meeting, so this date will change. We will post it and send you the new notice. But can we announce the new date, Miss Ashley?
Yes, we can. I think we said the 21st of February. Was that right? It's a Wednesday evening, same time, same Zoom link.
Yes, it would be March, right?
I'm sorry, yes, March. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, okay, let me just double back here before. Maybe it was March 13th. You know what? I think we should just look back at our notes
Yes.
before we make anything public. I can't remember. And if I click away, I'm bound to mute myself or turn off my meeting.
So I will also update this, this
as-
slide. I will also update this slide before Ashley puts it on the on her website and Facebook.
Esther, there was one more question. It says, hello, I have a question. My young son will be 4 years old on August 10th. When can I apply for the DLI program? His brother is in DLI kindergarten.
You can apply if your child is going to be 5 years old on or before September 2nd. We do not accept any students who will not be 5 on or before September 2nd. September 2nd is a state law for kindergarten age. And we do not offer DLI in TK, so I'm really sorry, parents, or preschool. We do have a preschool that teaches in Spanish. We do have a Spanish preschool at Jefferson Elementary School, but that is not part of our DLI program. It is not a DLI preschool. It is a completely separate program. However, if you're interested, it is at Jefferson Elementary School, and you can contact the preschool program. Okay.
Great. I think that is, sorry. I think that's it for us tonight. We appreciate you coming and being a part of this meeting. If you would like to contact any of us, we do have Esther Garcia's email address listed there, as well as mine. We do have an RUSD Somos DLI Facebook page where we post all of the updates, all of the flyers for the meetings, and of course, our website for Somos DLI, which I've just added to the chat one more time, where you can find this slide deck as well as the recording of this meeting. If you need anything, reach out to us, and we appreciate you for being a part of this community. And thank you so much to our interpreter and our administrators and our board members for coming. Have a nice evening. The end of the meeting always looks like